How loads are transferred, it is very important to know for structural and civil and mechanical engineers that how loading is transferred from all the elements all the way to supports. In this tutorial, I will be talking about load transfer in building frames, and I'll be using S-frame to demonstrate that how loads are transferred. Let us dive into it.
Hey friends, if you're new here, I'm Dr. Jawed Qureshi, a senior lecturer in structural engineering and design at a London university. On this channel, we explore technical and human skills to help us lead more productive, happy, and examine life.
Firstly, how loads are transferred. First example is loading path for frame. Here, uniformly distributed load is applied. The joints are fixed here, and at the end, it is fixed as well. When we apply UDL, it will generate moment and shear. Moment is simply force times perpendicular distance. It will cause bending. When we talk about shear, it slices the things into two parts. This beam is transferring moment and shear. Shear is taking a form of compressive load in the columns, and some small moment will be transferred in these columns as well. But column is mainly a compression member, so it will take mainly compression. This beam is again transferring moment and shear to the joint, and from this joint, compressive force is being transferred. So shear takes the form of compressive force, and some kind of moment will be observed as well. But this column is taking load not only from these beams, but it is taking load from the column above as well. And finally, it transfers the load to the foundations. The next example is load path for a frame with a cantilever. Here, joints are fixed, UDL is applied. It follows the same principle. At this end, we have this cantilevered portion. So it will transfer moment and shear to this column. So this column is going to take heavy compressive load. Also, it will take some moment. It is not mentioned here, but it will take some moment. These columns will take some small moments as well. Because the joints here are fixed, that will induce some moments. But column is mainly a compression member. Mainly, it takes compression. The third example is load path for cantilever canopy. Here, we have fixed supports, and we have huge cantilevered portion. This sloping member is helping it to have that large cantilevered portion. Again, moment is being transferred here, and compressive load is being transferred here as well. The reason is that when we apply downward loading here, it will cause tension in this member, and then again, it will try to stretch this member as well. Shear load will be applied as a compressive load in this column. The fourth example is this load path for braced frame, gravity loads. Now, the key difference here is that the joints here are pinned, and a pin cannot transfer any moment from the beam to the column. So that's the reason from here we will have moment and shear will take the form of compressive load in the column. Again, compressive load is being transferred in these columns. But the main thing to note here is that these bracing elements, they are not taking any loading at all. The reason is that the entire load is gravity load. There is no horizontal load applied in this frame, so bracing will not do anything. Bracing mainly takes horizontal load, wind load, or earthquake load. In this example, we just have horizontal load, lateral load. Now, this is causing compression in this member. This bracing element, it is trying to stretch, and that compression is being transferred in the column. And this member is not taking any loading at all, because when you have pins at bottom and top, this will simply rotate and it will not induce any loading in that member. This element is taking compression, and then again downward compression, and this element is taking tension. Key thing to note here is that bracing is a tension element and it is only taking tension. Let us now analyze these frames in S-frame and see that whatever we are talking about here, it is true or not. And in S-frame, I will be following 6 steps to analyze these frames. First step is geometry. The second step is boundary conditions and member releases. Third step is material. Fourth step is section definition and assignment. Fifth step is loading. And sixth step is analysis. Let us start with first step. Let us create geometry of these frames. I will be creating these structures. So I will be assuming that columns are 4 meters and this beam size is 4 meters. This is 4 meter and this is 2 meters. And again, the columns are 4 meters. Again, here, this is 4 and this is 4. And this length, I will assume it to be 4. And this length, I will assume it to be 5. And this is 2. And again, this length is going to be assumed as 4. Let us start S frame. So load path, and then I will click next, 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 next. I'm not worried about design codes, next, and then finish. First thing you want to do is to display the grids. This will really help me in creating the geometry. Click OK, and then zoom to extents. So let me start with member definition tool. The member definition, I will create members with one joint. So I will start with plus Y, and I will start from here. The member length is 4. Starting from here, 4, 4, 2 more members here, 4 and 4. And then for another element, I will say 4 and 4, 4 and 4. And I think I don't have any member here, so I have member here. So I will simply rub that off. So I will unselect, press Control, click on arrow, uncheck this one. In fact, uncheck everything. Simply click on these 2 things to check them and then delete objects. And then I will click on everything to check, to select them again. Next thing I want to do is that I want to define these horizontal elements. So I will say member definition tools, 2 joints. So I will connect this and this joint. I will connect again this and this joint. I will connect these 2 joints. I will connect this joint with this joint. In that way, I have created frame. Then I will look back again. I want to create this frame as well. So I said I will have 3 meters here and I will have 5 here and 2 here. Member definition tools. Starting from here, I have 4 at 3 elements. I have this inclined line and I will join these elements here. And I will join this as well. I will define one joint, and this time I want to go in positive X direction, and that's going to be my 5. And then again, I want to go into positive X direction, and this time I will have 2, and I will connect these 2 members with 2 joints again. So 2 joints and click here. In that way, I have defined these elements. The next thing I want to define these elements. I will assume again that this is 3 and the horizontal distance is 4. And let us see how we can do this. Again, member definition 2 joints. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3. And I will join these 2 as well. I will join these 2 elements with bracing. And then I will create a similar frame again. And I will have the beams. And I will create bracing. Click here. And click here. The elements are created. Then I will apply the boundary conditions. Let us now apply boundary conditions and release any moments that we have. Click here. I want to fix all these boundaries. So this is translation X direction, translation Y direction, and rotation in Z direction. I want to fix everything. Then in that way, I will have a fixed joint or encaster joint. So let's fix them all. And the bottom one is fixed as well. Now here I will use this member release tool where I will release all the moments. When everything is pinned over here in these bottom 2 frames, then the moment should actually be released. So I will release moments and everything. In that way, it will give me pinned joints at the base. Let us create materials now. I will define S275 for beams, and I will define S355 for columns and bracing. So here I will click on these materials. I'll click on EC3, and then I will say S275, and here yield stress is going to be S275, and I will add this, and simply I will say steel EC3 again, and I will say S355. Young's modulus is 210 gigapascal. Shear modulus is 80770. And I do not need any of these values here. I will say S355 and then add. So in that way, I have added these two materials, 15 and 16. Now I will assign those materials. So I will assign S275 for everything. Then I will assign columns to my vertical members and bracing. So I will simply click on here. It would be useful to change color over here. So I will change color of S355 to yellow or any color of your choice. So again, click here, or simply put shift and draw a line. It will change all the columns. Shift and draw a line. It will change the columns. Shift and draw a line, it will change the columns. Shift and draw a line, it will change columns and bracing as well. This is the quicker way to assign the materials. Let's define sections and assign those sections. The next thing for me is to define the section properties. So I will define beam sections, and then I'll go to steel, and for steel I will choose these I sections. So whatever first I is available, let me choose this 406, 143, 39. Click OK, and simply I will add this. And for the next one, for the second one, I will choose the steel element as UKC, which is a column section. So I will simply choose 203, 203, 46. Next element I want to choose is the bracing element. For bracing, I will choose circular hollow section. I'll choose 139.76.3. Click OK. And now I have UKB, UKC, but I will change the colors as well. So for beams, I'm choosing a blue color. For columns, I'm choosing a green color. And for SHS, I'm choosing this light blue color, and then close. So now I have these section. So S1, by default, S1 is assigned to everything. And I will choose this column section, and then it will assign that column section. Click on shift. It will assign the column section. Click on shift. Click on each column, and then SHS. I will simply click on this bracing. It will assign the section. Let us apply loading to the elements. So here we have UDL applied in this portion, and here I have UDL and point load. So let me start here. First, I will choose UDL. Global load, full uniform, magnitude, I will say 10 kilonewton per meter. And the direction is, I will say -10, so it will apply downward load. Loading, loading, loading here, loading. Click on this, and click on this. It has applied UDL, and again, click on this. And then I have to apply a point load as well. So if you see, I have a point load here, and I will click on the joint load, and here I will apply 10 kilonewton in positive X direction. I will simply click on that. In that way, loading is applied. Now everything is done. We are now ready to analyze. Let's analyze the system. So run analysis, linear analysis, untitled. I will save the files. So simply I will save the files as, I will say, frame and structure. A clean solution, everything has been analyzed. We'll simply go to graphical, and if you want to see reactions, it is showing you reactions. If you want to see the axial force diagram, the deflected shapes, and what I'm interested in is the axial force diagram. I want to see its values as well. I will go to diagrams, and here I will display values. If you compare the first one, you can see the negative values. Negative values, they indicate compression is being applied and compressive load. So you can see compressive load over here. For the second one as well, the compressive load is there. For third one, you can see that these values are positive. Positive means that it is tension, and their direction is opposite to each other. So you can see that the direction of arrows is opposite here as well. And the columns here, they are taking compression. So this column is taking tension. So that's why value is positive. Compression is denoted by negative sign and tension is denoted by positive sign. And you can see compressive load here as well. And there is no compressive load or tensile load here. For the second case, you can see compressive loading here and the loading are here as well. For the top ones, there is compression, values are in negative. Column is in compression, values are in negative. This is bracing is in tension, so that's why value is positive. This member is not taking any load, and again here, this member is not taking any load. We have compression here, that's why it is negative. We have tension in the bracing. We have tension in this column member as well. So that's the reason you can see that this is plus 7.5, and we have compression in this member. And then I would like to have a look at the shear force. So you can see these elements where UDL is applied, we have shear force. And then I want to see the bending. Here you can see that for the first one, we have no bending is being transferred because of pin joints. And here we have quite a lot of bending. And if I compare it with the diagrams, you can see moment is being transferred to the columns as well. And the reason is that we had fixed joints.